Hello, class. Today I want to talk to you guys about Martin Luther King. And I think a lot of you guys know what he's done. I think mostly everybody knows what he's done in this culture and in our society. But today I thought it would be an important and interesting topic to talk about what made Martin Luther King the man that he was. And here is the first slide that I have. And the main topics that I want to talk about in this speech are his childhood, his education, his marriage with his wife Coretta, and his relationship with God. I think that all four of these things were very important in making him the man that he was. The first thing that I'm going to talk about is his childhood, and here is my slide on that. Hopefully you can see it. Okay. From a very young age, with his mom, he was always taught that he was a somebody and that he was a man who was important and that he was just as good as anybody. And this was a key belief and something that came along with him in the civil rights movement. Secondly, his father was very influential to him, and him being someone who practiced what he preached. I'm going to read to you something from his book that he said about his father. He said, "The thing that I admire most about my dad is his genuine Christian character. He is a man of real integrity, deeply committed to moral and ethical principles. He is conscientious in all of his undertakings." And with two great parents who barely ever argued and who practiced love, this helped him to be able to see the God of the Christian faith, which is a God of love, because it was very easy for him to understand, in that being what he grew up in. Another thing that I want to talk to you guys about is his education. I think that this was a very important role and a very important thing in his life. And a crazy stat about Martin Luther King is that at the age of 15, he went to college. He skipped his first and last year of high school. And now he first got his bachelor degree in sociology at Morehouse College. Secondly, he got a Bachelor of Divinity degree at Crozer University. For his last degree, he got a doctorate in systematic theology, and that was at Boston University. Martin Luther King was a very learned man. He was a very intelligent man, and he had a lot of knowledge, and he loved to learn. And in this experience in college, he was able to learn about the philosophies and ideas of people like Gandhi, which is someone that very much influenced him in his nonviolent resistance that he would take into the civil rights movement. Someone who isn't often credited enough for the civil rights movement, someone who isn't too often mentioned as much as I think that she should be, is his wife Coretta Scott, or Coretta King. Here's the slide for that. On June 18, 1953, the two of them were married, and Martin Luther King in his book describes her as very supportive and someone who was there for him at every turn, someone who helped strengthen him at his weakest moments. And although you didn't see a lot of what she was doing, she was very important in strengthening Martin Luther King behind the scenes so that he was able to go and strengthen everybody else in the civil rights movement. So I think that his wife was very instrumental and very important, and someone who really helped Martin Luther King be the man that we know him as. And finally, I want to talk about his relationship with God. Here's my slide on that. Now, as I said it before, he grew up in a family where the Christian faith was a normal thing, something that was even acted out. His dad was a minister, and generation past to generation, they were all preachers. And this relationship with God and this trust and faith in God was very important in the civil rights movement, of him taking a lot of leaps of faith, not knowing exactly what would happen every time God came through for him, and Martin Luther King doing what he felt that God called him to do. A perfect example of this is in a crusade that they held in Birmingham, when they ran out of bail money, and when they weren't able to be funded for any more bail money for the campaign, after he was encouraging people to go into the prisons for the cause of justice, he himself was someone who had to do it. And he was like, even though we don't have any money, I feel that I too have to do what I just told them to do. And so even without the money, he offered himself up to go to prison. And after meeting with 25 men, I'm pretty sure, he just ended it with saying that I'm going to have to take a leap of faith. And a few days later, after him being in prison, he met with this man who came and talked to him and said that a man by the name of Harry Belafonte would be able to fund him with everything that he needed. So in that, I saw that God provided for him because he was doing what he was called to do, with countless other stories. In conclusion, I thought that it would be very important to share with you guys what made Martin Luther King the man that he was. We all know what he did, but I think that it's equally important to know why he did what he did and how he did what he did and the people who helped him do what he did. Thank you guys for listening. I hope that you learned a few things about Martin Luther King today.